So I remember my batchmate, Sangram Mudali, he challenged me saying, you Tambram, you middle class, with your middle class hang-ups, I'm sure you could never smoke. So I took the challenge and I took naturally to smoke. And after that, it was only availability of money, and I graduated from number of cigarettes to number of packs, then from those ready-made cigarettes to the pouch, tobacco pouch, where you can't keep count of how many cigarettes you are rolling. From then, it was my major addiction in life.
This is one dreaded picture I don't like to see often, but I keep it here because it reminds me of how bad I was. And I must be wearing some triple XL size t-shirt here. And then this is also another, he's a little older, not a year old, maybe some 10 months old. And I had just woken him up and he's like completely drowsy looking, very cute little thing. Oh God, I miss these days. Bihan was around 6-7 months old. Whenever my parents used to visit me or I used to visit my parents, they used to tell me there's this one spark missing in this baby. He never responded to his name. Like kids, when they are playing with their toys, they're actually making some sounds. Vihan never did that. So these were the things which actually provoked me to get him to a doctor. She assessed him for an hour, and then after that hour she came up with that diagnosis. Yes, this child has ASD, autism spectrum disorder.
During ragging, it was very tough to keep myself hiding because of my size. So I used to get caught with every senior for being ragged in college and all that. I remember once when I was signing up for a health insurance, the guy asked me what my weight was. And when I told him it was around 120, he said, "Sir, beyond 95, I can't do it without a health checkup." I really got offended. That is the point when we realized that being heavy is not helping at all, and it's physically inhibiting me from doing a lot more stuff which I could.
I got frustrated with everything that happened with me in the school. When I was 14, I was using a magnifying glass. People used to take off the magnifying glass and put it somewhere else, just for the fun. And a lot of people even ask me, how are you going to take your wife with this magnifying glass? At the age of 14, you don't know anything about anything to do with anything. Is that a question that to ask a child?
நான் பிறந்ததெல்லாம் வந்து தண்டரை தான், திருநெல்வேலி பக்கத்தில் இருக்கிற கிராமம் தான். படித்தது எல்லாமே வந்து எங்கள் ஊர் பக்கத்தில் இருக்கிற வில்லேஜில் தான் நான் படித்தேன். நான் டிப்ளமா மட்டும் சென்னையில் படிச்சிருக்கேன். எனக்கு வந்து ஒரு அண்ணன், ஒரு அக்கா. அப்பா வந்து அப்பாவுக்கு அம்மாவுக்கு மிஸ் அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங் ஆகி அப்பா வந்து வீட்டை விட்டு வெளில போயிட்டார் எனக்கு வந்து 10 வயசு இருக்கும்போது. அதுக்கப்புறம் எங்கள் அம்மா தான் வந்து எங்கள் ஃபேமிலியை வந்து பார்த்துக்கிட்டாங்க. எங்கள் அம்மா இன்னையோட ஃபீல் பண்ணாங்க ப்ரோ. எனக்கு நான் இப்போவும் சொல்லுவேன், என்னை பற்றி நீ கவலைப்படாதம்மா, நான் நல்லா இருக்கேன், நான் கண்டிப்பாக வந்து ஒரு நாள் பெரிய ஆளாக வருவேன்.
My daughter was sleeping in my lap and there was a show going on, and I realized that actually I am depressed. Not only because of my medical condition, but also because what I'm doing about it. I'm doing nothing. I'm just sitting there, gaining weight and feeling sad about myself and want everybody to feel sad about myself. So I realized that something needs to be done. It can't be just popping in some antidepressant pills. I didn't know where to start. but I also had a faith or a belief that it will come in front of me.
They say running is spiritual. After a point, it's not physical at all. This dialogue with yourself, once you get to know the joy of it, then it is only the time available during the day for running which confronts you, or the sun.
So let me go to the 1970s in the US, because I think it's important to look at how that boom evolved and how this boom is evolving. 1972 was Munich. An American won the Olympic marathon title, if I'm not wrong. Some of the popular guys in running, Frank Shorter, etc., turned up at that point of time. And the running boom started from there to where now, 30, 40 years later, you've got 35,000 people running in a marathon, running the full marathon distance. We're still some distance away from that in India, right? Now think of India as trying to do what happened in the US in a much shorter and compressed time frame. So instead of taking 30 years or 40 years to do it, we're going to do it in 10.
என்னுடைய நேட்டிவ் பிளேஸை விட்டுட்டு தான் கோத்தகிரியில் தான் வந்து நாங்கள் ட்ரெயின் பண்ணிகிட்ருக்கேன். எனக்கு வந்து சைனஸ் ப்ராப்ளம் இருக்குது, அலர்ஜின்ட்டு. இந்த டஸ்ட்டு, பொல்யூஷன், டிராஃபிக்கு, இந்த மாதிரி விஷயங்கள்லாம் வந்து கோத்தகிரியில் ரொம்ப கம்மியாக இருக்குது. நான் இன்னைய வரலாம் பக்கத்தில் இருக்கிறவங்கள்ட்ட கூட நான் பேசுனது கிடையாது. அவங்க பேரும் தெரியாது, அவங்க யாருன்னு கூட எனக்கு தெரியாது. பைத்தியக்காரன் தான் ஓடிட்டு இருக்கான், பைத்தியக்காரன் மாதிரி ஓடிக்கிட்டே இருக்கிறான். இதே நிறைய பேர் சொல்லியிருக்கேன், நானும் கேட்டிருக்கேன். ரன்னிங் தவிர எனக்கு இங்கே வேற எந்த ஆக்டிவிட்டீஸுமே கிடையாது. என்னுடைய கோல் என்னன்னா, இந்தியனுடைய ரெக்கார்ட் சிவநாத் சிங்ன்றவர் வந்து 1978 வந்து 2 hours 12 minutes ஓடி இருக்காரு. இன்னமும் அவருடைய ரெக்கார்டை வந்து இன்னும் யாரும் பிரேக் பண்ணலை. இப்போ நான் மும்பையில் வந்து நான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வந்திருக்கேன், பேப்பரில் வந்துட்டு இருக்குது. இன்னும் என்னுடைய கோல் நான் அச்சீவ் பண்ணால் இன்னும் 30 minutes இருக்குது. இப்போதான் தெரியுது அந்த என்னுடைய கோல் வந்து எவ்வளோ பெரிய விஷயன்றது. நான் வந்து ஒரு மலையை தூரத்துலேருந்து பார்த்துட்டேன், இந்த மலையை நம்ம ஈஸியாக ஏறிடலான்னு சொல்லிட்டு. அந்த மலையில் ஏறும் போது தான் தெரியுது அந்த மலையில் எவ்வளோ கல் இருக்குது, எவ்வளோ முள் இருக்குது, வழியே காணோம், எப்படி போகிறதுனே தெரியல. கோயம்புத்தூரில் தான் வந்து நான் ஒர்க் பண்ணிகிட்டு இருந்தேன். பர் டேக்கு வந்து நீங்கள் 14 hours 15 hours கூட நீங்கள் வந்து ஒர்க் பண்ணுற மாதிரி இருக்கும். இது இவ்வளோ கஷ்டப்பட்டு நமக்கு எந்த யூஸுமே இல்லையேன்னு சொல்லிட்டு, சரி நமக்காக நம்ம என்ன பண்ணலாம். எனக்கு வந்து ரன்னிங்னா எனக்கு ரொம்ப பிடிக்கும். ஃபஸ்ட்டு அம்மா எங்கள் வீட்டில் இதை பற்றியே தெரியாது, மேரத்தான்னா என்னன்னே தெரியாது. அம்மா என்ன சொன்னாங்க, வேணான்னு தான் சொன்னாங்க. ஆனால் அண்ணன் வந்து உனக்கு தான் அந்த நம்பிக்கை இருக்குதுல்ல, கான்ஃபிடென்ட்டு, சரி ஓகே உனக்கு வந்து என்ன சப்போர்ட் வேணும்னு கேட்டார். எனக்கு இந்த மாதிரி மாதம் வந்து ஒரு 3000 rupees கொடுத்தா நான் நல்லா ஹெல்ப்ஃபுல்லாக இருக்குன்னு. சரி ஓகே, நான் உனக்கு மாதம் வந்து 3000 rupees உங்களுக்கு நான் அக்கௌண்ட்டில் போட்டுடுறேன், நீ பண்ணு. இப்போ இன்னைய வரைக்கும் ஒரு ப்ராப்பரான ஒரு கோச்சோ ஒரு நியூட்ரிஷனு என்கிட்ட எதுவுமே கிடையாது. பழங்கள்லாம் ரேட் அதிகமாக இருக்குதுன்னு சொல்லிட்டு நான் காய்கறி தான் நான் வாங்கி சாப்பிட்டுட்ருக்கேன். நான் டெய்லி வந்து முட்டை வேணா சாப்பிடுவேன். மேரத்தானில் நம்ம வந்து 4 வருஷம் நான் டைம் எடுத்துக்கலாம். 4 வருஷத்தில் நம்மளால் வந்து ஒரு லெவலை வந்து அச்சீவ் பண்ண முடிஞ்சால் நம்ம அதே ஃபீல்டில் இருப்போம். நம்மளால் இது முடியாது அப்படின்ற ஒரு இது வந்துருச்சுன்னா சரி விட்டுட்டு நம்ம வேலைக்கே திரும்ப போயிடலாம். என்னுடைய ஸ்டோரி வந்து ஒருத்தர்கிட்ட நான் சொன்னேன். அவர் அந்த ஸ்டோரிக்கு வந்து அவரே ஒரு ஹெட்லைன் கொடுத்தாரு. என்ன கொடுத்தாருன்னா, வாழறதுக்கோசரம் இவன் ரன்னிங் பண்ணலை, ரன்னிங்கோசரம் தான் இவன் வாழ்றானேன்னு சொல்லி அவர் கொடுத்தாரு. எனக்கு உண்மையிலே அந்த டைட்டில் எனக்கு ரொம்ப பிடிச்சிருந்து. ஓகே, நமக்கு ஏற்ற டைட்டில் கரெக்டாக கொடுத்துருக்காரு.
They say every cigarette loses 2 minutes of your life, or some such statistic is there. So I calculated and showed even if you take 100% more than what I smoke today and convert it into minutes and reduce from the average longevity of my family, I would die maybe 65. Now I said I am no great person that if I die at 65 or if I die at 80, what difference does it make to anybody else? You will all be well provided for. So I don't see any reason why you should interfere with my simple pleasure.
There's a sense of community that you get through sharing a passion or an interest, which I think the internet is partly responsible for. I mean, if you can go online and chat with strangers around the world about something you're interested in, then why wouldn't you want to go out for a run with somebody who you shared running with?
When we made this conscious effort to make it as inclusive as possible, then the perceptions changed. Like, to get the first women into our group, it was quite difficult because the idea of running on roads, running with men. And so I would say it's now kind of a social experiment which is going on.
When I finished my full marathon, my daughter was standing there and clapping for me. I think that's one of the best moments of my life.
And then I started meeting up with people whose lives had changed. And they would ask me, what got you into running? Boredom. And then I'd ask them and realize that they had overcome diabetes, fighting cancer, lost 50 kilos of weight, and all sorts of fantastic things.
I was 27 when I was diagnosed with sarcoidosis. Sarcoidosis is an autoimmune disease where body cannot differentiate between self and non-self. It starts looking at own self cells as foreign bodies and starts attacking on them. My doctors told me I should not be in a hospital because I'll catch infections, and I was a doctor. I started having a constant sore throat. So now vocal cords are two small organs which come together to each other to make a sound. Now my right one was paralyzed. So the left one had to travel across the midline, go to the right, touch and make a sound which was of very poor quality. It was a hoarse sound and I could not speak continuously. There's a very funny thing. If you don't speak, people don't speak to you. At 40, I remember my whole world became silent. There is no cure of sarcoidosis. This is going to be with me in my system all my life. Everything was coming down to, I didn't know what to do next. So I made a bucket list. I wanted to make that list thinking about what are the things which I thought even at that point or a couple of years ago which I can never do. So I cannot run because I had issues in my right knee joint, right hip joint. So I said, okay, I'm going to run a marathon.
But I think it's the attitude as to what running does for you. In India, you done something wrong, better do 2 rounds of the football field, and or you do. It's a punishment, right? Whether in the army, police, or you do lots of work with the army and police guys, and they say, why are you getting us to run? We do that every day. But I said, you're not having fun doing that.
And as the universe conspires to get you what you're looking for, I opened a Sunday brunch, and there was an article by Rahul Verghese, Running and Living, that anybody can run. You just need to have the mind set that you want to run and a good pair of shoes. And that's it. So 2011 September, 21st September, I still remember the date, I went for my first run. I also remembered my speech therapist had said that you have to develop your chest muscles, your neck muscles to be so strong that they can make you talk and breathe. If I start running, it will improve my quality of speech. This is O, then I have to do E. But if I run 5K, my AEIOU is done. It's done without doing these exercises. I finished my first 21 kilometers and I was so happy. I still look at my pictures. In every picture, I have 13 or 14 pictures on the site. All of them, I'm grinning and smiling and so happy to run. When I run, I forget that there is a medical condition which is permanently there within me. And it just gives me freedom from that whole barrier of sarcoidosis, vocal cord paralysis, speech therapies, granuloma formation, all these complicated medical words, they just break away, as if they just don't exist, because then you cannot do what you're doing. So it gives me freedom from all the barriers which life is trying to put on towards me. So
people told me, if you want to quit this addiction, you must pick up a bigger passion. You must have something bigger in life. You can never remove something and leave the vacuum. It will again come back to you. But I realized the problem after quitting smoking is your bowel movement, diet, sleeplessness. These are all things. Then that feeling of not being able to concentrate. So a lot of things were there. For that, somebody said, do some exercise. Start on some exercise. If you're tired, then you will get sleep. So that's when it started.
Hello. Morning, Bushur. Happy Valentine's Day. Yeah. అప్పు నువ్వు ఎక్కడికో వెళ్ళారంట? ఊళ్ళో అల్లా. నేను షూటింగ్లో ఉన్నాను. నేను షూటింగ్. బాయ్. యా చేస్తా బాయ్. మై సిస్టర్. The first thing that happened is like I never knew that I'm losing my eyesight. So as a child, when you play and all, you expect everyone to have the same kind of, I'm not able to catch the ball. I thought it was my inability. I never thought, it's because of my visual disability, I'm losing my eyesight. I used to think everyone was able to see the same things. I got beaten up in the school during all these years for not doing proper homework, handwriting, spelling mistakes, studies, and it so happened, people thought I'm just making that not able to see as an excuse not to study or not to do things and all that. So they used to think that I'm acting, My struggle starts at, as soon as I get up from the toothpaste and the brush. I did not expect life to be so tough, frustrating because of the small things, when things fall down, I had to pick them up. It's frustrating. The whole transition is a journey that you need to take all alone because there's no one who can help you out through this. And it so happened that my dad heard about this non-profit called Enable India in Bangalore that trained and placed people with disabilities across India.
Vidya?
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good
How are
afternoon.
you? How come you're here?
How come I'm here? I'm here.
Yeah. To trouble some more people.
Yes. One day I walked in. I said, I'm not going off from here if you're not training me. So I sat here only.
He was sitting at 8 in the night, troubling all of us. So he had come from Hyderabad. He was very persistent and he was also slightly disturbed because he was going through his own phases of accepting the vision impairment. He needed that a little guidance and a little love and a little support and, things of that nature. Here is a guy that, who can be easily placed, actually, right? Because of his communication skills and the positive energy that he brings into the team.
I listen to audiobooks, a lot of audiobooks. I use this digital data a lot of times, and I read a lot of audiobooks. I'll show one of them. So this is the speed that I use, like 60 words per minute.
Take a look at this. He held it in the air as if he were holding up a Tiffany vase. He talked about the machine's prowess at cutting potatoes, then onions, then tomatoes. His voice, a marvelous instrument inflected with the rhythms of the Jersey Shore, took on a sing-song quality. How many cut tomatoes like this? You stab it, you jab it.
Juices run
down your elbow. With the dial-o-matic, you do it a little differently. You put it in the machine and you wiggle.
I took a house. I started living alone. I used to crib a lot. I used to sleep, eat, sleep, eat, sleep. And I was putting on weight. I was like 96 and I would go to touch 100.
One carrot. If it's not a good carrot, it will be very soft, and you'll have all lines everywhere. Okay. And second thing is carrot. You know how carrot spoils? Carrot spoils in the form of dots. Small kind of black things come. And they're, when you press it, your hand will go inside and it's rotten. And this is very fresh.
I read about this runner in US who runs with a co-runner. The co-runner is a sighted runner and this runner, he's blind. I went to Facebook, all running communities, I posted. Santosh got in touch. He said he ran with other visually impaired runners in US. I got trained with the help of sound, a touch and the finger running. Then after the first season is up, like I went and ran 10K in Oroville and I felt really good about it. I was like jumping around, for someone who ran 100, who can't run 100. I used to run 100 meters, stop, I say I can't run more. I was like that. And no, I ran 10 kilometers. So next 3-4 months, I trained with anyone and everyone.
When I run long distances, these are the conversations. So whoever is my co-runner, you talk with them. So socially, you are a different person. After you talk you talk your personal life, you become close to someone. And when we don't talk, I imagine, I build stories. I imagine as if I'm running with a deer, a tiger, sometimes I feel as if I'm having wings and I'm flying. And I build stories, okay? And I have this weird idea of, making something called the blindfold marathon. Okay. So I want to call all the pro long distance runners of the world, blindfold them, and I'll say run. I'll give you a co-runner, you run.
I would just want to run. I would just want to run for the sake of running. There are no goals, no achievements, nothing. I want to fill my water bottle, get some good co-runners, have some fun, run, and then eat. I'm a foodie and a food reviewer, so even before I start running, I think of what to eat after I run. Okay, I need to talk about my friend Deepa over here, and she's someone whom I met on Orkut about 10 years back. And we met on some disability group, and for about 6-7 years, we never knew that she is wheelchaired and I'm blind. And then one day I went to meet her in her office, and I gave my hand, and she did not take it. And then I understood that she can't move her hands. That day I felt so bad, so embarrassed and bad. I went back and asked her, how do you manage? He says, I'm working for the last 6.5 years, Raghava. It's not tough, it's easy. And you know what? When a part of it's just my eyes, yaar. It's Deepa for me. It's Deepa for me, you know? I would say she is my inspiration. You know, I want to inspire at least 1 million lives before I die. 1 million lives personally. Now, how do you... And I think running is going to do that for me.
With running, I have found, if you can put each part of your sense to certain activity which to preserve your life, like if you're breathing, to deliver enough oxygen, hands, legs, eyes on the road so that you don't get pricked. So all my senses are concentrated in keeping me in balance, making me run. So then what remains after all this is me and my inner self.
For a beginner, if you can walk for 30 minutes continuously, that is a good start. There is a misconception that people say that if you run on roads, your joints will give way. That's not true, because I've been running for the last 35 years. So far, I've not faced any problem with my knee or any joints.
Running is something that has come for many years naturally to people. It's just that once person reaches adulthood, our body changes. I think if we look back and what we used to be when we were in the college days to what you are in the corporate life, we probably won't recognize each other.
Hari way back in '96. That was at Stina Vasu's aerobics class. So he was this huge, chunky hippo kind of guy. So I noticed him. He was like, in the last row trying to get a hold of the steps. So everybody noticed him that day. So that is my first memory of Hari. And then I met him after a year on purpose because, word spreads around. Like, have you seen this guy at Arogya? He's like lost 30 kilos. And I was curious. So I just went to class and I was like floored. I was blown over. Like, obviously, we became friendly and I asked him out, and that's how we started meeting each other. Surabu Suramana Samuna.
But you come here. No, she wants to watch. She'll be in between and watch.
Excuse me. I was.
I'm supporting you only, but don't think that I'm supporting you.
You too, Brutus. Once when I was meeting with some of my childhood buddies and all that, a couple of those guys had started running. So I asked one of them, how do you run for such a long distance and all that? So he said, the day you comfortably run 1 hour on the treadmill, try running outside. So that's how the running started. And in Chennai, if you have to run, you have to do it early in the morning. If you don't do early in the morning, you are pretty much sweating. You can't run after that. Initially, it used to take a lot of effort. So I used to do like about 20 rounds around the boundary ropes of M.H. Chidambaram Stadium. I did 21 for the first time, 21 kilometers, and I did it in about 2 hours and 15 minutes or something. That's when I first got my running related injury. It was happy in a sense because, I'm getting injured for something that I'm doing right, not for the wrong reasons. In the longer term, if you want to keep running, you need to strengthen your muscles and your body.
My first encounter with Hari was actually at Frankfurt Airport because we were flying back from Chicago together, and I had this little baby and I was struggling with the bags, and he so chivalrously offered to take all my bags right out to the car, and I was thinking to myself, he's having a challenge with his own self, and then he's being so chivalrous. So I'm just saying this in the context of the Hari that I know now, and I actually didn't recognize him when I saw him a couple of years ago.
No point getting the points without form.
We had this idea that we would all do strength on a Saturday morning on our porch. It just was one of those random things that came together, and now we even have a name for it. We call it the porch workout.
Keep working. Don't take a break. Last 40 seconds.
The wonderful thing is that Hari comes, and he comes with the intention of sharing what he learned during the earlier part of the week. He's so willing to share and correct our form and, motivate and say all the right things.
Try and lean forward. Pull yourself down. So these guys in the group were talking about signing up for the full marathon. So that's when I signed up in an act of madness. So then comes this big list. The week one, you slowly ramp up on miles, and every week you need to do like about 40 kilometers is the least that you run in a week. And I was like, what have I got myself into? There is a lot more to running than just what you see.
Exactly. Pick those names up. Check it out.
And there I was in the start line, the huge crowd. I realized why people said that you first have to run in full marathon. There is all this music and celebration happening around. People on the side of the streets, giving you water, all chocolates, dates, whatnot. Then you have all these photographers lying down on the road to catch a picture of yours. And you do pose in that adrenaline rush, you pose for pictures and everything. And then before I realized, back to the finishing last 100, 200 meters, you start the mile markers coming out, 100 meters to go, 200 meters to go and all that. And then somehow gathered the strength and started running again.
Good on you, marathon runners. 1:59.
I crossed the finish line. I forgot to turn off my garment because at that point I just didn't feel like anything else. Even now, if I think about it, I get goosebumps. My first finish, and literally tears were rolling down my cheeks. And that's how that moment was. To think back, from where I was, hardly able to run for 10-15 minutes on a treadmill, to running 42k. At that point there was absolutely no pain, no body pain, nothing. The mind had totally taken over. The feeling of finishing a marathon was that's an amazing feeling, and that's the real joy of it.
2 hours, 8 minutes.
The moment a person crosses the finish line, whatever he utters for the first couple of minutes, he will surely speak only the truth and nothing but the truth.
Super nice. 1.2 is finishing the full marathon. Well done, sir. You are finishing the full marathon. 3:35 is also finishing the full marathon. You guys are heroes. Give me a hand for all the fun hours and the full marathon.
Every runner who came past the finish line, the kind of feelings they express, it was just amazing. That was the first time I took a photograph of myself after all this weight loss and starting running with the medal that I got. posted it on Facebook. And the kind of comments and reviews I got is just amazing. People saying that, you are a motivation. How did you manage to do it? My brother from US, with whom, I've been pretty much fighting all my way through childhood and always. So he says, I'm proud of you. It's not just the weight loss bit, that's all incidental. That happens. You will lose weight if you start exercising at this rate. But the adulation that you get, that keeps you going. That keeps you motivated.
Year 2013, I had by then completed 13 years of quitting smoking. By then my running had progressed to a marathon a day. So my friend rang me up and said, at this rate, you should be able to do 100 marathons for the year. Why don't you attempt? December 15th was the day I ran my 100th marathon for that year. This year I have consciously decided not to count, because counting such statistics takes away the joy of running.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The perception of women running out there was a little different then. There were very few women running. And I can't even tell you how that changed and how drastically it changed in a period of 1 or 2 years. Today, it's like amazing. I mean, if I go for a Mumbai marathon, I'm like one among 50 or 60 odd veterans running in that category. It's much nicer now. You see a lot of women running, and the scene has changed completely.
In 2012, I got my divorce. It's not very easy living by yourself just with your son. I take it as a phase where I have to figure out how I have evolved and how my future life will be. Vihan's diagnosis was a complete blow. So I said, no, the marriage is ending anyway, because it was completely beyond repairs. But I cannot think about that now, because Vihan needs a lot of attention.
Who's Ralph is doing? Jumping very highest.
He had lots of issues, right from his sensory problems to his behavioral issues. Every day I used to get called in school. He has thrown this, he threw a chair on a child, he hit another child, he bit the teacher. Things like that came up. So I completely concentrated on getting Vihan's therapies online, his things, how to work about it. Jump and in and out, jump and in and out, stop. Start at 3, then stop at 12.
Make it difficult.
I'll make it difficult?
Yes.
Okay, start at 5 and stop at 21.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
My day always used to be packed with packing his stuff, putting everything into the car, driving to this place, driving to that place, changing him in the car, eating in the car, sometimes taking naps in the car itself. The car became another home. A lot of pressure was on me and all was coming out on him. So I decided I will not use him as my guinea pig to get all things out.
Yes, I want this. Be careful. Hold it tight.
I was nursing him for a long time, so I didn't want to take up any rigorous activity or any kind of exercise. I had put on a lot of weight, so I thought I should get back. I should look my normal self, because I was looking some 15 years older. So around September 2006, I decided I will run the half marathon. That time Vihan's school was in the afternoon. So I used to have the early mornings while he was sleeping. I used to have that free time. There are days when I don't want to wake up, but then I know I have a run ahead. So that's a very exciting thing. I used to reach out to running. I used to find that very relaxing because it was completely my time. I used to plug in my music and I used to run and cry sometimes. I realized that running was helping me calm down even on an emotional level. It completely changed me that time. It helped me deal with all my problems. So it makes me feel very strong, physically strong, mentally strong. So this is my runner's high. I start looking into future things. There are a lot of things to worry about, like how Vihan's life will be in future. Will he ever fall in love? Will he ever get married? What will his career be? There are lots of things I can sit and ponder. But then I don't want to do that because then it just spoils the fun and the pleasure I take in small things right now. If I imagine my life without running, I'm speechless. I have no words to describe how my life... I don't even want to imagine how my life will be without running. Your finger. You see. Yes. So now we are quite relaxed. He has changed overall as a child, as a person. He has a set of friends whom he can relate to in school. He has, or the kids he travels with, or there are some kids in therapy he's friendly with. Everything is going well. I have figured which times I would be doing what. So it's good. Life is good.
For most people, it starts off as a journey to fitness. You know, I need to lose some weight, I need to get fit, I feel like I've put on weight, I don't feel so good. And then when you fall in love with it, you then want to do the half marathon, the full marathon, the ultra, because you start deriving so much joy from it that you can't imagine kind of life without it. It makes your life more fulfilling.
We came from a middle class family. We were always a little short of money. To make a virtue of it, Gandhiism was an ideal foil. But what clicked about him? What was it in him which made him what he is today, a force to reckon? Then I found it was only his ability to change. That if this is not where I am, at whatever age, I am willing to accept and make a change. I used to get a lot of dry fit t-shirts for my running before, but they shave your skin. Khadi used to be very comfortable to wear to my office. So I thought, why not try this for running? And I find this absolutely comfortable. And this is the place I come to buy raw cotton, and I make thread out of it to be made into a cloth. Normally I get up around 2 o'clock. I have a session on my spinning wheel and then start for my run. I have never been a runner for timing. That never appealed to me. For me, the total experience, that's what always mattered. It takes me about 5 hours to complete my run. Then you are out of city traffic, out of any other distractions. Till such time, the real benefit of running doesn't come. It's only physical. After that, you are able to really talk to yourself. I have a highway with no traffic. They seem to have built a road just for my running. In India, people are naturally barefoot. Actually, we start shoes much later in life. So I found that it was natural. Now I choose events based on will I be able to run barefoot? Is the course barefoot friendly? Ah, there she is. She'll keep calling till I cross completely. You can hear this till that point. Having tasted it, I can now say the best therapy to quit smoking would be to start running. If somebody starts running, the kind of joy he gets is as much as smoking and much cleaner. My wife's role in all the experiments I have been able to do on myself is something which I don't know whether I could describe in the time limit you would have for the entire movie, much less for the slot you would have given me. She has been with me in all the events. Even when I ran 12 hours, this lady has the patience to sit through, even with a bad back, and she would be there with the energy drink, with raisins, with things, and with a big smile always. My only wish is that I should be able to run till I die. I cannot imagine life without being able to run. That's how important running is to me.
Isha, hello? बेटा, do you remember that song जो मैं गिटार के साथ बजाती थी, बहुत गाती हूँ? It's a very common song, first song which I have a dream. Thank you so much. Thanks, baby. Yeah, you're so nice. Thanks, baby. You're an angel. Bye. I have a dream. How can you forget that? Okay, so let's say it's I have a dream. So like, I have a dream, a song to sing, to put me through anything. So I have a dream, and I could never think that I would dream of running a marathon, and I would actually run a marathon. So it's like actually crossing the stream. You know, when you think it's just a dream, it's just a dream, but actually it becomes a reality. I'll cross the stream. I have a dream. I have a dream, a fantasy to help me through reality. I have a dream, a song to sing, to help me go with anything.